Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Finding Fertility. Welcome back to another episode of Finding Fertility. I'm super excited to have you here on this Friday. Today we have another beautiful guest on. It's Monica Bivas. She is a IVF coach and she knows all about IVF, that is for sure. But I wanted to bring her on to share her story of how she coped after the loss of her beautiful little girl. Now, having a stillbirth has to be, in my opinion, hands down one of the hardest things to deal with for anyone, but especially for anyone going through infertility. I hope Monica's story inspires you that taking control of your mental health is not just about seeing two pink lines, but it's truly about being able to cope with all the ups and downs that life can throw at you. So without further ado, here's my girl, Monica. So tell us a little bit about your journey leading up to trying to conceive.
Okay, it's a story that, for example, I took it by granted. Why I tell you that? Because, I'm from Colombia. I don't know if you know. And my dad and my mom, they got, married, and my mom got pregnant very easy. They didn't plan to have too much children. Their plan was 2, but eventually they had 3 girls. I'm the older of 3. But from my mom's side, actually, my grandpa and my grandma, they had 18 kids. They had 9 girls and 9 boys. So it's crazy. I have like 273 cousins. Like count, I went into each of my uncles and aunts.
Okay, you win. Like my mom's one of 9, and I thought I was from a big family, but you win.
Oh yes, my husband is like, what is this? Every time that people come from Colombia, it's like, oh my gosh, again. So the thing is, I took it for granted because basically all my aunts and the wives of my uncles, they will get pregnant with a blow of a kiss. Whew, and that's it, they got pregnant. So I was like, honestly, when I was young and I went to college, I never had in mind having kids, Monica, because the world wasn't like it is now, but it was bad. So I always thought, why to bring kids into the world? So I enjoy my young years. I went to study, but then I met my husband, and he had a girl from a previous relationship, and I fell in love with her. And I said, okay, I was 30 years old. I say, I want a family. And I thought, that's it, I'm going to have amazing sex with my husband and I'm going to get pregnant. And it didn't happen. It was not that easy. So we tried for 3 months. I went to the doctor. He said that maybe, like they in the beginning says, maybe it's stress. You are just starting. And the first thing, you are 30. So, you need to maybe work it out a little bit. 6 months passed. I went. They gave me Clomid to, and then a year passed, and I was like, something is wrong with me. My family, I look at the genetics. I say, this is not possible. And it's something wrong with me because he already has a girl. Mm-hmm. So I went to the doctor and I told him, listen, there is no more Clomid. There is nothing. You do everything that needs to be done because I think I have a fertility issue. So eventually he did. We did hysterosalpingogram, and they found that my tubes were blocked. So we did. It was devastating for me because, like you said, I didn't know best. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm infertile, and I cried my eyes. And he was like, relax, there is some things that we can do. So we did laparoscopy to try to unblock the tubes, but it didn't work. I had a very strong endometriosis, so the scar tissue was too attached for many years since I got my period. So the only way was that. Yeah. So it devastated me. When he started to explain me the process, he was like, oh my gosh. But my husband supported me, and he said, you know what? It's not impossible. You still can get pregnant. It's like if they're going to tell you have no eggs or your uterus is broken, something like that, Yeah. So we went over, did our first IVF, and I was very lucky that the first IVF worked, and is my now 13-year-old daughter. And again, as we didn't know better, And we didn't know that we could freeze our eggs or our other embryos. And we just let it pass. And, we said, okay, so next time we go through another IVF and it's going to happen as easy as this one.
Really? So,
yeah.
sorry, I'll take you back.
Yeah.
One, I want to take you back to the endometriosis. Did you know that you had this issue through your 20s? So it was kind of like a silent endometriosis, which a lot of people don't realize that you can have that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my periods were extremely heavy, Monica, very heavy. I sometimes, honestly, sometimes from the pain, I could lose conscience from the pain. Yes.
So you were having some types of endometriosis symptoms, but you weren't linking it.
And I didn't even know, because my periods were regular every 26 to 28 days. So I thought it was normal. Like you said, we never think, and I was never thinking about checking on my periods, which is something that today I suggest to most women, either if they want to be mothers or not. You know?
And it's crazy because, I mean, a lot of women I'm speaking to now, I think almost every episode, we weren't thinking of that. And it's not until you go into a clinic, or, you are diagnosed, that you're like, oh yeah, I guess something was wrong with my periods. Maybe that wasn't normal. But I think there's a lot of work now out there that's normalizing these things. I'm hoping that the younger generation at least gets that step down.
Oh, I'll do it. I'm very careful, for example, here with my daughters. I change a lot the household products, even the cosmetics. Now girls at 13, they want to use this. So I'm very careful to buy vegan, to check the ingredients, because there is a lot of what we put in our bodies that can affect our fertility. Mm-hmm. And we became vegan 5 years ago, and then I start to read a lot. And it's not like proven yet, but there is a lot of studies that shows that eggs are somehow linked to endometriosis.
Okay. Well, yeah, that would be a food intolerance, which a lot of people, eggs are a very healthy thing for most people. But if you have a food intolerance, which endometriosis is a brain fart, immune issue. And yes. So it all goes back to your gut. And so if you are eating foods, anything, it doesn't matter if they're healthy or unhealthy, that aren't good for you. And yeah, that does not surprise me that I would imagine a lot of people with immune issues have an egg intolerance, and just don't pick up on it because eggs are healthy, right? We're told eggs are healthy.
And I used to love them. Oh my gosh, it was since I was little for breakfast, that was a must. So, that's how. So we didn't know more yet, like better, and we didn't froze our embryos, which we could have.
That was my second question. That boggles my mind. Really? That wasn't a thing in the clinic, or?
They didn't told us. And we were in shock after that, after we knew that. It was one of the nurses, like she was very, I guess she, some people we carry in our minds and things, a lot of personal stuff. And we kind of forget sometimes to advise others, not because we mean to, but because some kind of our personal things. And then when we knew that we could do that, my husband screamed at the doctor, Dr. Brandeis. And I tell you something, he is amazing. And he apologized. He is such a good-hearted person that he said, come to me the second time when you're going to do it. He gave us a very big discount from that mistake, because he took responsibility as his team. We love that. We did the second, and then another mistake happened. The nurse that was, they call you to give you all, you need to put this quantity tonight, They switched charts, and they gave me the chart of another lady. So my ovaries went like balloons, and I got OHSS, and my numbers in the hormones came crazy. We have to cancel. Yeah. Again, my husband screamed at him. The guy apologized. He said, listen, we cancel. Next treatment is zero, free. And he even provided me the medicines. And for some reason, Monica, I went with him. He was, and I tell you, I will never regret that I did it. Because the third time, it was my pregnancy with my baby girl, that I lost to 39 weeks, but that was nothing to do with him. Somehow during the pregnancy, I developed some blood issue. So a blood clot in the umbilical cord, that's it.
Yeah.
Killed my girl.
Were you ever diagnosed with blood clot issues before that?
No.
Kind of just a freak thing.
No, absolutely. And during my first IVF, they did all the tests of, the phospholipid, autoimmune blood clotting. The second time, it was because I didn't get pregnant and they has to cancel. They didn't. And this third cycle, we did the same. I was on aspirin, like exactly in my first cycle until the 7 month. Like, each doctor has its own protocol.
Yes.
And then, because I was 37, I did the amniocentesis, that big needle in the belly, which is super painful. And we found out the baby was a complete normal girl. You know what, Monica, sometimes things happen for reasons that we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I do find it really admirable that you had that that trust in your clinic, even though mistakes were happening. And that's just humans, right? We are humans, and we are really controlling or manipulating something that we don't have control over. So,
Definitely.
right, mistakes are going to happen when you are doing let's go back to your first IVF. So after it was a success, did that give you a level of confidence that maybe kind of blindsided you going further into your treatment, if that makes sense? So for me, we had our baby boy. We finally had a boy, and then we had 2 embryos left, and we went in. We had the diet, we had the lifestyle, we had the drugs. We were going to have twins, right? Like, it was going to happen. And then I miscarried. And I felt blindsided by, I guess, the confidence. And I mean, even though no matter how you have a miscarriage, where you are in the world or how you're feeling, it's always going to be devastating and sad. But yeah, I feel like I had this level of confidence going, it's going to work. Why wouldn't it? It worked the first time. So,
absolutely. I had that too. And I even had a little thought that maybe a miracle could happen and I would get pregnant somehow natural. I was thinking, maybe there is a little hole in one of the tubes and somehow it's going to pass. I always thought that. And even the confidence went to the point that I tell you the next treatment is going to like this, if this won't work first time, because most of the doctors tell you, well, when you jump into IVF, only 25%, and most of the first time treatments doesn't work. So for me, it was like, again, and that's a problem we humans have. We all have this problem. We take things for granted, no matter what it is, Monica, and we had. But sometimes I think, why not? Why not? A lot of people work with that, manifest something, and it might take years for that thing to manifest. So I think it's a good thing that sometimes you can feel blindsided or confident about something if something already worked. What maybe we are not prepared for is for failure, to the what if. We need to maybe, yes, be confident, but always think that life happens, obstacles come, and maybe after you jump certain obstacles, that thing is going to come as you already put it in your mind, but we are not prepared for the what ifs.
yeah.
And even if we try to prepare for the what ifs in life, we still continue being the same. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about a lot before is that you're going to hyper focus about it anyways, right? So why not just do it in a positive way? Get that overconfidence, and like you say, it manifests into maybe something that you didn't even believe could happen or didn't realize could happen. Or, for me, keeping that belief and doing all the hard work, I got pregnant naturally after 2 months of that miscarriage. So yeah, it is, a lot of people, I think, look at the staying positive, which I don't believe you can stay positive all the time. But what I'm saying is building your confidence, reaching for those goals and not guarding yourself, because I think it will happen in a way you don't expect it to happen, and you are going to fail. And not to take those failures and go, oh, well, that didn't work, I'm not going to do the mindset, I'm not going to do the diet, I'm, not going to try again, or I'm not going to have faith in my body, because we all fail, right?
Absolutely, Monica. And you know what? Sometimes the failures are very painful. Sometimes that failure, and like you said something very to the point, and is that things come in ways that we don't expect it. It's so true. When my stillbirth happened, I was a wreck. I'm not going to tell you no, because it's like you said, staying positive all the time can't be possible, because it can't be. Life is made to learn, and we learn through mistakes and painful things. As well, we learn through good things. So what I did, I was crazy. My body was already prepared, so I had to rub my breast to dry the milk. I didn't, usually you have a baby, you wake up because your baby wake you up crying. I wake up because the baby was not there, so I was missing that. So what I did, I told my husband, I drilled his brain that I need to do an IVF right now. And he was like, you're crazy. You just have a baby. Your hormones are crazy. I drilled him. I told him, I don't want this doctor anymore. I called this doctor and I told him, Dr. Brandes, I need another doctor. He was open. He gave me like 5 amazing doctors. I choose one. I went to him. He told me the same. You cannot do this now. But the poor guy I drilled everybody, Monica. I came crazy. And I guess they didn't have a choice. I put them against the wall. I went to do IVF. I got pregnant. I miscarried because emotionally, I was total wreck. Physically, my body was consumed.
Mm-hmm.
And all the balance between my mind and my physique and my soul was a mess.
Yeah.
But sometimes we need to go through that, go also deep through the dark. And there is only 2 choices. There is no middle ways here. It's either we run into that dark and we just give up and do whatever we have to do to stay there, or we get out of there and we move on.
Yeah.
And it's the time that I mentioned you that my marriage also start to crumble, because this can affect a lot of your surroundings.
Well, 100%. I mean, infertility itself is a huge burden on yourself, emotionally and physically, and your partner, and your friends and your family around you. I feel like there's a lot of different emotions that you have, and either you're pushing your friends and family away, you're pushing your husband away, or you're, just a different person, or, there's lots of things you can be doing to yourself that projects onto everyone else.
Absolutely.
And whether that's justified or not, like you say, we all have to go through those stages. It is recognizing it and going, whoa, like, this is not what I want for my life. This is not what I want for my marriage. It's not what I want for my friends and family. And in reality, even if you get pregnant, this is not the type of person I want to be with a baby.
Absolutely. And that's where it comes what you said, that things happen in a very unexpected way. I realized after that, my marriage was crumbling and everything. And then it's like a hammer, come and hit your head. And I'm like, okay, something needs to happen. This needs to be a change. And the change comes not from outsiders. It comes from our within. When we change, then the things start to change around us. Yeah. So I start to see what is my side, what on my side I'm doing that is affecting that surrounding. And we start to work together with my husband. Okay, so we love each other. Yes. So we're going to try to work it out. So I focus, that's it. I said to myself, I need to stop to focus on baby, because I already have a child. I lost my child, and Monica, I'm telling you, and I understand women when they said, even if you miscarriage at a few weeks, nobody else but us understand that pain.
Yeah, definitely.
Nobody else. So a few weeks, 5 months, me almost 9 months. Of course, the more time goes for a mother, it's harder to lose a child as the time grows. So miscarriage for me was terrible, a baby, complete baby. So for someone that has a teenage and God forbid something happened, it's harder.
Yeah.
But then I said to myself, okay, I don't think that whatever my soul, the soul of that baby is, wants to see me this way. We worked for a year. I stopped to focus on baby. And then a year later, we did our last IVF, and we decided that's going to be the last. Either we get pregnant or not. And we did it. And that's when something clicked on my mind. And I say, you know what? I went through so much, like hell of a time, that there is so many women there that they don't know that there is someone that can help them and tell them, yes, it's difficult, but you need to remember that before baby, you still have a life, and you need to kind of balance that. I got pregnant. They were twins. One we lost, and the one that stay is Maya. She's 5. No, she's 6. And I tell you something. Once she born and my husband put her on top of me, I felt that it was the same soul of Isabel, the baby I lost, different body.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like that was the time for that baby to come to me. She couldn't come that time because probably our marriage already was crumbling without me knowing it, because I was just focusing on my own pain and not looking at others.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I always think it's very bittersweet, rainbow babies, because the only way that baby could be there is because that the baby that you lost wasn't ready, wasn't
Yes.
meant to be for you. And both of my boys are rainbow babies. And it makes me, like, I'm not a teary person, but I'm kind of tearing up right now. It's a very bittersweet thing to go through. And anyone who has just recently gone through a miscarriage or a loss or a stillbirth, fight for your mental health and your happiness, because there will be better times.
Yes.
That they will always be in your heart, but I always feel like I always strive to keep them in my heart in a very positive way.
Yes, that's how I do, like, and my 13-year-old knew because she was 5, and she kind of remembered, and I approached, like, me and my husband have very open minds somehow, especially him. Somehow when I need to explain something and I'm stuck, especially my English is not my first language, so I need sometimes to remember words. So he's from Israel, so he has the same issue. But for some reason, he's more like open mind. So I throw the ball on him, and he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "You are better." So he explained to her, my 6 years old Maya. The other day we were talking about Isabel, so she's like, "Who's that?" And then my 13-year-old, "Oh, it's a baby that mommy lost." "Oh, you have a picture?" And I'm like, "Yes." So she's like, "I want to see it." I say, "No, not now." But then, like a few days later, she came and she said, "I want to see it." And for some reason, Monica, is like you said, the things come in the moment without expectation. And I say, "You know what? Yeah, I'm going to show it." And then I explained her that I feel she is the same soul. And I felt she understand. Both my children know that they are IVF.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, why? I'm explaining them, and I feel it. I feel very happy, actually, because I think that women like you and me that go through IVF is the closest we can get to how God handled that thing, that miracle of life. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's I don't want anyone to have to go through IVF unless you absolutely have to. That's kind of my mission. But I would say it is an insane thing to be able, we have video of my IVF baby, of his embryo from pretty much moment of conception to splitting into the 8 cells. They have these things called embryoscopes.
Yes.
And it is insane. It's absolutely insane to see I call it the burst of life. That
Yes.
is life. It's at the beginning. And I think people who are in that world of IVF and have seen it, why miscarriages might affect them like an earlier miscarriage is because you just have all this information that you would never have during a natural pregnancy, so it makes it just makes it, I guess, more real, more in your face. I know it's hyper focusing and maybe not a great thing, but I feel that's why us in the infertility world, and especially in the IVF world, is that we're there from the moment before it even gets created, right? The eggs and the sperm.
Absolutely. We are before it's even, you're right. And you know what? The moment they transfer an embryo, we are pregnant. We are pregnant because it's an embryo, we are pregnant. Now, whatever happened during that 2 weeks, which is a crazy thing too, but we are. So that is absolutely much more strong on us. And I am with you. Every person, every client, every woman, every couple that come close to me, I always tell them before jumping on IVF, there is other ways. There is other ways. Do like do a 3-month challenge to yourselves. There is so many ways. Women with PCOS, like I have a very close friend that had that, and she's ready to have her baby girl, and she changed a lot in her diet, more healthy. She started to. It's also up to us, because as you said, it's the closest and it's incredible. It's a miracle, but because of that same thing, sometimes can affect us. Wow. And then it's more strong how we take the pain.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go back to after the loss of your little girl. Do you think that maybe you weren't mentally prepared to handle those situations, in the sense of the loss and then jumping right back into the IVF, and maybe your marriage was on the rocks? Where I don't know, why do you think that you kind of took the grief and just kind of pushed it aside and started focusing? Where were you mentally in that space?
That happened.
In hindsight, like looking back at yourself, do you think you might have thought you were healthy during the pregnancy mentally, but do you feel now that maybe you weren't?
Exactly. You just said, not me, not my husband. I go back, and of course, during the grieving process, I didn't see it. But today, where I am at, and when I go back, definitely, Monica, we were not prepared, as me as an individual, him as an individual, both as a couple. We were not in a good place. And that baby definitely wasn't for that time. So, yes, when I look at that now, we were not in a good place. We don't realize it in the moment that we are that, because we just don't think about it. Our minds are so focused on other stuff, and maybe even in whatever. We were having issues, not as big as we had it after the loss, but we were having. It's like a little snowball, So it was accumulating, and then I guess that this soul saw it, or somehow God saw it, consciousness, whatever you call your God, saw it, and like, this is not the time for this. I'm sorry, this is gonna end, and it happens.
And I know that our community hates this, but when you put children into the mix, your mental health gets tested.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say that, because I think it's hard to hear someone say that soul wasn't meant for now. And I think, especially in the infertility community, I think that might be hard to hear someone say. But with our hindsight and what we've been through, we can say, with all due respect, that we do know that when you have children, it's hard. And even if you're mentally and emotionally prepared to bring a life into the world, and your marriage is amazing, shit happens.
Oh, yes.
And your kids are, we think, like, especially, I know for me, I spent a lot of years of thinking, like, I'm gonna have a little me, and I'm gonna have a little my husband, and this is how it's gonna be. They're their own person, man, and they are gonna, like, throw shit at you that you never thought they were gonna throw. And if you're not mentally in a good place for that to happen, all your other shit that's going on that you didn't realize is going on is just gonna explode.
Oh, yes, it's a snowball. You just say it. They are their own person. Mm-hmm. Oh, my gosh, they are their own person. And they might have things from us. And I'm going to say something also with all due respect, because Is once you are there, once you have them, you think about it, Monica. And I tell you something. Number one, with the world like it is, the world is upside down. Of course, our children are the ones that we need to fill them with love to maybe be the hope of this world that is crazy. And number two, you just said, when they start to grow, when they start to build a personality, sometimes you feel like you are in the zoo. Sometimes you feel that there is no solutions, there is no things to come up. And sometimes I myself said, did I did right? Am I do right as a parent? Did maybe I, like if you go, you think, let me go back on time. Do I will go over this again? Really?
Yeah. And that's what I say. Like, I'm grateful in a way for my infertility because it made me sort my shit out before I had kids. And, everyone's heard me say it before. I would have been a really shit mother. I don't think our marriage would have been nearly as strong, and maybe not even be married if we had kids at 27 when I started. I think that it's really hard to look into the future and prepare for what is to come,
Absolutely.
and
Now that you talk about that, there is a movie that I always recommend to all my clients, because it's showing you that, things that supposed to happen, they are unavoidable. And this is an incredible, it's Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey.
Yep.
Is that movie, I can watch it over and over and over again, and I always come up with the same question: how the heck he was in 5 times at the same time? That's soul. And this is what rainbow babies are. They are soul. They can be there, suddenly they are not there, because they also, that's what we are. I always said, we are spiritual beings that are having a human experience, which is not an easy one. It's not easy. It's, like you say, shit happens, life happens, and we somehow, because a spiritual being is such a perfect, energy. So somehow, whomever is handling there the little things, decide that perfection is not so perfect, so go and learn imperfection or something like that. So, but it's something that can help us focus on see, like we can't control life.
Yeah, exactly. So what was your big aha moment then of going, I'm in a really shit place, things aren't working out, I need to start changing? Do you have a defining moment, or do you think it was just a little bit of a buildup?
Actually, I had one moment. Like when we lose a baby, when we miscarriage, like we have moments in which we kind of forget, or I don't know, that moment kind of gone. The grieving processes start with it's a negation. You denied it. It doesn't exist. You don't believe. Sometimes you want to wake up from that dream. So there was moments in during that time that I could, like, people from our synagogue will come every day, and I will feel that they were cheering me up. I never felt that before. And there was moments that we were talking during the time that they visit, and then I will laugh, Monica, and then suddenly my subconscious is like, why are you laughing? You just lost a baby. It's like you see it as a bad thing. And then my last time, and then you punish yourself, right? And then you are like, and then once people leave, it was the last time that people leave, I start to say to myself, why? And my mom was here, and I'm like, why I need to laugh? I just lost a baby. Why if she says something funny and she's telling me? Because that's life. Because maybe she wants you to laugh. And I went upstairs to my closet, and I closed the door, and I start to cry like there was no tomorrow. And I start to feel that I don't want to live anymore. And I'm going to be very open with this, because I think that was my aha moment. And I thought about every possible way of ending my life in that moment, crying. And every time I thought about a way, it's going to sound funny, but I thought at the same time, and what if I stay alive? What if it is painful? What everything is, my brain start to work. So eventually I realized that I don't want to die. I want to live. And the only way to live is not to forget what happened, but is to learn from it and to accept that I am going to have moments of happiness and love, and it's okay because it doesn't make me a bad person or a bad mom. And I'm going to have moments where the memory is going to come and I'm going to cry. So I'm going to cry and let that pain go to open up again to the laughs that they are coming. That was the thing. And from that moment, I start to really, really work on that. And my husband was supporting me. And we said, that's it, we need to focus on us, on Elia, on Daniela, my stepdaughter, and on living happy as much as we can. And when something comes up, we sort it out. And if pain comes, because I'm not a person that's going to tell you, don't cry, or don't feel the pain. We must feel the pain. Yeah. But we have a choice. Either we feel the pain and we let it out, we cry, we scream, we rant, we curse, we say all the bad words. So it's gone for that moment and open for the good things. Or we stay suffering all the life.
Yeah.
It's a choice. Pain exists, but suffering is a choice. And then we victimize ourselves.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just easy to sit in that black hole, isn't it? It's much easier just to sit and block out the world, and yeah, but it's not helpful to life.
No, it's not. That was my aha moment. I left the closet and I told my mom, there is not going to be a way that I will kill myself because it's very difficult. She's like, what? And I'm like, yes, I thought about all the possible ways. And I'm scared of that. I told her, I'm scared of that. I'm scared. Could be even. And she's like, good, that saved your life. Go on.
Okay. Oh gosh. And so what tools or things or what did you do to start implementing a more happy, joyful, positive life?
Well, one of the first one this inspired me to do what I do today. And I love it, Monica. I really loved it. I love to help other women. I start to write. I always love to write since I was young. I love to write and I write beautiful, And so then I start to practice writing in English. Write about my emotions. It's a well-known thing that when you feel bad or when you feel like negative, it's good to write, let it go, color it in purple because purple is the color of like transformation and transmutation. And then I will rip it off and burn it. And then really like put that, it could be a placebo effect, but by the fact that you do that, so then it's kind of gone. I start to color a lot, like, by coloring books. I love to play with colors. And then I start to write the draft of my IVF planner because I thought, I went through all my IVFs and it's a bunch of papers and it's a mess and I didn't organize. And I said, you know what, let me start a draft and one day it's going to be a book. So I guess that all my own journey, the happy moments, the painful moments blend together and create that passion on me that I am offering to other couples and women. For me, writing and color therapy or art, even, you know what, I am not a painter. I'm like a disaster painter, but sometimes I go and I buy Michael's a little canvas and I go to a YouTube, little basic this, and I paint some. It's so releasing, like it's very relief.
Yeah.
For me, it's relief.
It's finding what does that for you. And there's so many different options out there and exploring them and just doing them over and over and over again. If you find something that you love, just continue to do it because placebo or not, right? You're retraining your brain.
Exactly.
You are putting in new connections, you're getting rid of the old connections. So an old habit is maybe coming home, being really frustrated, just turning on the TV, watching like really shitty programs, whatever they can be. I don't want to get into what they might be. And, just do nothing on the couch.
Yes.
Or coming home, maybe watching your favorite program, getting off the TV and writing or painting or doing something that is filling you up, that you're achieving something. And it is very simple, but yet really effective.
Yes, and I always tell people, what I also choose this because I want to offer others the capability of making them understand that we, you and me, we were there. You know, I didn't become out of the blue. I walked this process, and I know that saying things is easier than taking action. So I have few members in my group that left because I understand they went through 16 IVFs, 7 ICI, and they got tired of maybe me hearing, try to manifest. I get it. I get it. Sometimes you need just to block yourself, get out of this, and maybe that is going to clarify your mind better, because I went through 5 cycles. There is people that went through 8, 9. I have a beautiful friend that I met through my group in England. She went through 16 IVFs and 7 ICSI. And she came to me one day, like upset. I'm tired. I'm upset. There is no God. This is shit for me. Like this. No more manifestation, no more coloring, no more writing, no nothing. And she left the group, and then she apologized. I said, listen, if you want to talk to me like just like that, that's okay. Eventually, she got pregnant and she had a baby boy, and that's it. I'm so happy for her, but I also understand her. So, but whatever is the way you take it, like you said, always, we need to remember that there is always a little spark, and we must somehow reach that spark. We can be there in the end or in the middle or close, but the idea is to get that spark. And like you said, before jumping into IVF, really find and look to all the possibilities that we can have to get that baby.
Yeah, exactly. And I love how the fact that, I hope that most coaches out there, or even doctors, nurses, anyone supporting someone going through infertility, realize that when someone needs to step away, it's not because of you, it's because of them, and recognize that and support that. And, I get people coming and going all the time, and that's good. I feel like, okay, if you're not ready for this message, I'm going to be here. So when you are
Yes.
ready, let's go, and we all have, like we've said before, those different stages. And that's what infertility is. And really, that's what life is, right? We're not, even us being gone through what we've gone through and being where we are now, we still have shit days. There's still
Oh my
things
gosh.
that are
I
hard.
had yesterday one with my husband. It was for the most stupid thing, Monica, like for the most stupid thing. And I think I'm going to get my period too. So I know that when I get it, it's moody. And then I had to cry and tell him, I'm sorry. I came on him so crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And then this morning I just explode. I cry. And he's like, it's okay. It's absolutely okay. And then he's like, I think you're going to get the period.
Yeah, and it's just recognizing that about yourself and going, okay, what can I do that the next time that's going to happen, I can calm myself down, that I'm not this, you're always striving, right? We're not perfection, and we are never going to be perfection. But
No.
I hope that our stories and what we're doing now can really just inspire and maybe help people not have as long as journeys as we did, and
Yes.
as many IVFs as we did. Learn from our mistakes, really.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And like you said, when we build, I did a lot of changes. We build, and sometimes when I like fall and I have a day like yesterday, I feel like what I did, like I feel like you erase all the good. It's not that way.
Exactly.
Eventually, we come up to a place. We're humans, like you just said. And a fertility journey is not only to get pregnant and have a baby. Our fertility involves everything. How we behave with others, our circle, our family, our husbands, our children, if we already have.
Yeah. And it's I know for me, I wasn't really like mindful or like a hippie or any of this, like not like anything, right? I felt like I was just a normal person. It's really hard when you aren't like spiritually inclined to look at this stuff and go, oh, that looks interesting. Like most of the time you're sitting there going like, who the fuck, you guys are weird. Like, what do you mean coloring? Or like and I feel like there's different levels of spirituality, you have
Yes.
just the basic, or you have the extreme, and it's finding where you fit into there. So I don't want people to, like, I know a lot of people just go, that's just BS, right? You can't think your way pregnant, you can't do all that, which I agree with. You can, like, for me, I could not think my way pregnant because I had to deal with the underlying issues. For you, you couldn't, will your ovary, your tubes to open.
Yeah.
But it's so much more, as we know with hindsight, than just getting pregnant. There's
Oh yeah.
a lot of shit, especially when you get pregnant, that you have to deal with and beyond. So it's really being open to that, finding your level of comfort, and you might
Yes.
in and out of it. I know there's times for me that I've seen in the past where I'm much more spiritual, and then there's other times where I just say fuck it every day. Like, that's just how.
Oh yes, absolutely. There is days that I feel like very close to God, whatever, and there is days that I am like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, what is this happening? And but it's natural, because no matter what, whatever our God is, again, I don't, go through. But for me, he or she or whatever it is, because we don't know, loves me the same way.
Yeah.
Bad, good, when I'm upset, or not, like we do with our children, like we do with the people that we love, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I know. I feel I have my shitty days too. What do you think? Oh my God. We coaches need coaches. I always said that.
Right? I
Because
know
it's like you have the things in the house, and then you are helping your clients, and sometimes it happens to me, like I finish with a client, and I'm like, so like sad, because I want to really find, and so my brain is, and my husband is like, no. So I'm like, and I tell him, I want, he said, like, you cannot help all the world, like, do what you can do. If she comes to you, it's for a reason.
Yeah.
So work the tools. And like he helps me so much to focus, Monica, because I'm all over the place.
Yeah. And I, like I say it too, is that being a coach and watching these women go through their journey, it's like flashbacks. You're
Oh
like, oh man, and you want to grab them and you want to give them the biggest hug. And
yes.
even though we hated it when people said it to us, it will be okay in the end. No matter what your end looks like, it will be okay. But yeah, I feel you on that one.
They say something, you just say it. My husband said, in the end, everything will be okay. If it is not okay now, it's because it's not the end. And it's so true.
Yeah, it is true. Very true. So we talk about hindsight being a bitch. With everything that you have learned, been through, studied, experienced, what's the one piece of advice that you would give to anyone going through infertility at the moment?
One piece of advice.
I
It's
know.
going to sound a little bit, maybe not so good for some, but patient.
Yeah.
Patient. This is the biggest test on patient.
Mm-hmm.
I was the most impatient woman in the world since I was young, since I was little. And I'm still learning, Monica. I am this kind of person that if I have 7 things in my list, I want to finish them the same day. And I still want to do that, but it's impossible. So I realized this is so much about patience. And I know it's difficult. And I know maybe it's going to be people in the audience that's going to say, fuck you, like I have 17 cycles and I'm still here. I do understand. But because I've been there in many different ways through my 5 cycles, because 5 cycles is 5. But just when I was pregnant from my last baby, they put me on blood thinners. So I have the stillbirth. What I did, I couldn't leave this baby alone for a minute. I learned to count every single movement, and I didn't let this baby sleep for a second until she born. And you have no idea how hyper she is. She wakes up every day at 5:30 in the morning from Monday to Sunday. And I know, I don't tell her anything because I know it. Patience. I was praying from the 5th month to the 9th, to the 40 week, that it will be tomorrow. I was every night. I wish tomorrow is going to be the 9th month and the baby's out because of the trauma I had from the stillborn. patient. It's all patient, and you feel that it's not gonna end. But it's the only piece of it's the best advice I can give you.
Yeah.
How you handle the patient, how you make it a habit, right? Color, or like you said, find something that you like, and then practice, and then you fall in love with it.
Yeah, exactly. A patience. Yeah. That is key, man. And especially once you get into the medical side of infertility, my heart breaks seeing these women go through back-to-back IVFs, or doing 2 or 3 even in a year, or IUI after IUI, every other month, or when they get their period back. It's we all want to be pregnant yesterday, right?
Yes.
But what we don't realize is that taking a step back, slowing down, really connecting with what's going on with our body may get us pregnant quicker.
Absolutely agree.
And, your baby is going to be happier and healthier because of it.
Yes, that is so true. It is so true.
But thank you so much for having on. I've had a great conversation with you, and so lovely meeting you. Tell us a little bit about your IVF book, because you did highlight it. Tell the listeners.
Yes, I have one actually here. Is again, it's for couples or women that definitely find that the only way is IVF. I wrote the IVF planner. So it's this book, and what it is, of course, it's giving you the basic of what IVF is, what could be the outcome, but it's more like your story. You write your own story. Why I did it? Because with the test and the numbers, we always go crazy calling the clinic. I want to know this. And then if you don't take note, you want to know the numbers. So this is going to help you for recording your IVF cycle. But not only that, I didn't only focus on the part of the basics and the medical. I have a complete chapter, which is the 2-week wait. And like I told you, one of the things and the tools that helped me is the coloring. So I designed the 2-week wait with 14 mandalas. So, the person has, like you color as according as how you feel. And then in the end of the chapter, there is a journal, or even you have a space in your each day page where you can write something like an affirmation. It could be a positive affirmation, like, okay, I feel wonderful today. And it could be something like, I feel like cheat and color it black, or just scribble, scrabble, whatever you feel. But then when you have that, and you're going to go back, let's say you have the baby. So then you're going to tell the baby, you know what, this is how you came to the world.
Yeah, I know I have your IVF planner in my shop over on Amazon. And tell our listeners where they can also find you and your book.
Okay, so you can find me in my website, www.monicabivas.com. There is there all the links, to resources, to know about me, and there is there the link to purchases. So you open that link and you're gonna have there the book, and then you're gonna find the links to Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. All Amazon, I am in UK, Canada, Australia, and here in US. And through Balboa Press, which was the publisher that, helped me to publish the book. And you're going to find there also some meditations, free resources. You can also contact me there. And, I offer always to anyone a 30-minute discovery call. I'm not like, I like to first, like you said, I don't like to say, okay, I'm your IVF coach. Come on, let's go. You jump to IVF. This is what you need to do. I like to know first the person or the couple, because if there is something I can do before they are going to spend money, because, this is costly. Yeah. It's very costly. And I can help. From the bottom of my heart, I always offer that discovery call. It's 30 minutes. And then if they choose that, so I have all my packages too there.
Great. Well, thank you so much again for joining us, and you're doing great things out there for the community, and I'm sure we'll speak soon.
Yes, Monica, thank you so much. It was an honor to be your guest today.
A few more things before you go. If you would like to connect with our special guest, head on down to the show notes. You'll find all the links there. You'll also find links to connect with me over on the website at findingfertility.co. Over there, you can check out my one-to-one coaching. You can check out the Fertility Reconnect course, which I think we are going to do in the end of May, maybe beginning of June. Super excited for that. And also, you can find me over on Instagram and TikTok doing my crazy thing. I really hope you're enjoying the podcast. If you are, it would be amazing if you can leave a rating or review. We would love to know what your thoughts are, how we're helping you, and anything that we can do to improve the podcast. That's it for me, lady. I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you next Tuesday.